Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady, where we share stories about folks that are mistaken for employees by irate customers. And the first story is, Lady, students don't have to follow the student dress code. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. Backstory, I'm a high school senior at a magnet technical school, meaning it's filled with smart kids who don't want to try. I got a position as an intern at the school's IT department for over the summer, and for the last hour and a half of each school day, that counted as technical credits. Needed 6 of them to graduate. Gotta love work-based learning. Also, 3 years ago, almost all of our administrators got fired for embezzlement. This will be important. This happened on Thursday, and I thought this would fit here. Story time. I was doing my job installing new printer cartridges in color printers in classrooms in the 400s hall, commonly known as the science hallway, and was having a chat with my chemistry teacher from last year, who happened to have a planning period and wanted to know about the events I was looking into for this year's Science Olympiad. My team's won county for the last 4 years running. Very proud. It's important to note that I am not dressed like teachers are supposed to be. The teacher dress code meant no sweats, no tank tops, no jeans except on Fridays. Basically just dress generally put together. My boss in the IT office was wearing work clothes and shoes that weren't open-toed. The clothes part could probably have been negotiated. Love my boss. This particular Thursday, I was wearing joggers and a flannel over a tank top. The only thing I had going for me in the category of looking like a teacher was my ID badge, a student ID in the school-issued plastic sleeve on a retractable lanyard, the same that are issued to teachers, that I only got because the box of them lives in one of the full-time IT guy's desk drawer, and he gave all 4 interns them when we first started in June, and my badge, while it had an NFC in it to let me in and out of the school, the IT office, server rooms, etc., is obviously different from teacher IDs, even on a first glance. I also had a radio clipped onto my pants waistband. Note, the only people who have radio are admins, department heads, and maintenance people, not teachers. While I was talking to my old chem teacher, an older-looking lady walked past us. She didn't say anything at the time, but clearly was giving us the side eye. I didn't think much of her, since she was obviously a sub. My school has only a little over 1,000 students, so not that big, and while I don't know all the substitutes, you tend to catch on to the regulars, and she didn't say anything when she walked past. I didn't think anything of it, finish my conversation, and start to head back to the office. I get a call over the radio from another intern, asking me to pick up a spare monitor from one of the storage rooms, casually known as IDFC, not my idea. Because my direct boss had stabbed another monitor with a knife, long story, probably will post the story to r/Tales from Tech Support one of these days, but I literally just made a Reddit account, but The door to IDFC was clearly labeled authorized personnel only, and needed a valid keycard, not physical keys, in order to get in. My ID has clearance for this door. Regular teachers' ID cards won't let you in. I'm about to let myself in, texting the other intern to get her to send me a picture of the stab monitor, so I know what type I need to pick up. Then suddenly, here comes the substitute teacher around the corner, spotting me with my phone in one hand and ID in the other. She comes storming over to me. From here on out, me will be me. AS will be annoying substitute. CB will be my chill boss. FA will be my favorite administrator. And IF will be my intern friend. Substitute, what do you think you're doing? Me, what? Substitute, that door clearly says that teachers aren't allowed. Why would you think that you could go into an off-limits room when you look like that? Me, visibly confused. Look, I don't know what your problem is, I'm just doing my job. Is there something I can help you with? Substitute, you can start by not dressing like a gang member. What sort of influence are you being to impressionable children? You should be fired. Me, I don't understand. I'm just trying to work. Nothing I'm wearing is against dress code. I'm assuming she might have seen a slip of gasped shoulder if my flannel had slipped a little. Substitute, I will report you to the principal. What do you think you're doing wearing sweatpants? What sort of teacher are you? Me finally understanding. Oh wait, I'm not a teacher, I'm an intern. We don't have a dress code other than the school dress code. Substitute, don't lie to me, you're just trying not to get fired. Give me that walkie-talkie, I need to call the principal. Me, nope, I don't need this. Please let me do my job. Teachers aren't allowed to use the radio unless it's an emergency. Substitute, give me that. Substitute grabs the radio out of my hand and hits the call button. The radio is pre-tuned to channel 3, the IT channel. Admins are on channel 11. Substitute screeching into my radio. I need the principal outside room 4XX, there's a teacher trying to break into a room. Over the radio, my boss responds confused. Boss, what? AB, what's going on? I manage to wrestle back the radio and call for my boss. Me, boss, can you come down to IDFC? I need a hand. Really soon, please. At this point, Substitute throws my radio across the hallway, and because the intern radios are always the crappiest ones available, the battery pops out. So I have no way of knowing if help is coming, and Substitute is still screaming in my face. Unfortunately, I'm 3 feet down from the door that only I will be able to get into, and Substitute is still forcing me further away, screeching at me. It seems hopeless, until here comes Administrator turning the corner, attracted by the yelling. A note about administrator: after an embezzlement scandal mid-year that led to only like 2 admins still standing, a science teacher that just so happened to have another degree that qualified him for the admin job. This man was a fabulous teacher, and while I never had him, my friend did, and I knew him well by association with friend, even before I got the job. Working during the summer, he was one of the admins that were there pretty consistently, and since he's always been pretty friendly to me. So, administrator turns the corner, like an avenging angel, and sees me, obviously trying to do my job, and this substitute losing her mind in front of me. He immediately comes over and tries to see what is wrong, and because she's an actual employee, he goes to the substitute first. Administrator: what's going on here? Substitute: this teacher is acting inappropriately in front of impressionable students. She's trying to break into and steal things from the off-limits rooms. Administrator: AB, what are you trying to do? Me: oh, thank God, Mr. Administrator. I'm just trying to get a monitor for boss out of IDFC. Administrator: IDFC? Did literal highest level IT guy in the district, who works in the same office as boss, friend, and me come up with that? Never mind. Substitute, aren't you supposed to be in a class right now? OP is just doing her job. She's an intern. It's not like she's skipping class or anything. Substitute suddenly gets calm and collected to try to explain to administrator that I was a disgrace of a teacher, which I'm not, and I was a bad influence. Debatable, and I should be fired. I would like to go home all the time and was totally down for this. Boss and friend only just now round the corner onto the scene, just in time to watch me get down on my hands and knees to put the radio back together, while substitute tries to defend herself to administrator. Friend makes sure I'm okay, and then gets the monitor to actually finish the ticket we were working on. Boss helps me fix my radio and starts defending me to the substitute. I was a little shaken up and don't remember that much about the following conversation, but the gist of it was substitute was upset that I was exempt from the dress code rules for teachers and employees, and that I had access to rooms that she didn't have. But then a security guard comes around the corner. Apparently substitute had left her class of freshmen to go to the bathroom, and when a student had an emergency dismissal in the classroom was called, they realized she had left unattended students. Hella not allowed. The security guard had gone down to the classroom to investigate, found it teacherless, and had checked the security cameras. The result? Substitute ended up getting fired. The administrator apologized to me on her behalf to me, my boss gave me some Jolly Ranchers and let me chill for the rest of the workday because I was pretty shaken up, and then let me stab the broken monitor. I haven't seen that sub since, and I am glad. The next story is how I cooked at McDonald's. This event in my life takes place around Halloween, basically to sum up events of the story and to tell you about certain things. McDonald's in my local area of North Carolina encourages people to dress up in costume for Halloween, and I've seen people in various costumes for the holiday. Well, I was out and about getting candy for Halloween dressed as Michael Myers. It was a navy blue boiler suit, black undershirt, and a Ruby's Michael Myers mask from Amazon. The highest quality $50 Michael Myers mask that you can't get from Walmart or other cheap places, unfortunately. I had been out to get candy and I was feeling pretty hungry that night, so I went to get my usual order of French fries and a McChicken. I was driving my car there to get said food, and I prefer to walk in and order as well as pick it up. The drive-thrus around here, even more so on this location, can get pretty crowded with a decent amount of people. So, upon my entry and sitting down at a table while people hurried and ordered their food, a manager came out and looked very worried. He had his eyes darting around the whole place, and he finally looked at me and said some name and beckoned me to follow him. I thought it was because he might have wanted a picture with me because my costume is pretty accurate to the Halloween costume, specifically the first one. I followed him and we walked into the kitchen, and I was trying to say something to get him to realize that I was not an employee, but he just brushed it off. Later, I would find out that someone else had been dressed up as Michael Myers, but with a different mask and color of jumpsuit. The manager had forgotten due to a lot of people coming in and whatnot with costumes. This was just last year, so Michael Myers was a very popular option of dress. Also, what was a factor was the fact the guy had a break and evidently left the store because he did not want to work on Halloween and did not inform the manager, only one of his friends there. The manager positioned me at one of the fryers and demanded that I get cooking on a batch of fries, while he went to the restaurant's freezer. He brought back a bag of the fries, and I, despite not working there, went ahead and set the fryer basket on the hook and helped him sort the fries in. He told me pretty much what to do because the guy there was a trainee anyway. I pretty much followed the instructions to a T. This went on for a good 5 minutes until someone brought it up that the guy who was also dressed up as Michael Myers was not returning to the store. The manager was informed, and he profusely apologized to me, and he said it was his mistake, and that they were just too busy and he did not notice. When I finally got to get my food afterwards, he hooked me up with some free food for the work I did. So I got an extra large fry and some burgers, as well as a thank you regardless. So that's the story of how I became a fry cook. I hope you enjoyed it. Another story is, I promise I do not work here. To set the stage, I have a system for shopping, especially at places like Target, where I'm likely to wind up with a bunch of stuff I don't need. If I only need 1 or 2 things, I absolutely will not get a cart or a basket, because if I have the space, I'll probably fill it. So I do still buy more stuff than I need, but it's reduced this way. I run into Target one morning wearing a black long-sleeve shirt and jeans. My hair is in a messy bun. All I need is some 3M hooks and duct tape, but, well, it's October and there's Halloween stuff out, so I wind up with a set of bat-shaped string lights, a box of pumpkin bar mix, and some random assorted treats as well. My husband texts and asks me to pick up some peanut butter, so I head over that way and I'm staring at the jars, trying to remember which brand he likes, when I hear someone clearing their throat. I ignore it. More throat clearing, followed by, "Excuse me," said in the most annoyed, entitled tone you can imagine. I ignore this too because, well, I have anxiety issues, and I tend to avoid people. After a moment, this evil-looking crone of a woman grabs my arm and makes me drop the peanut butter jar, which broke on the floor. She ignores that. "Protein shakes, low carb," she demands, as if I could somehow summon them for her. I scowl. "I don't work here," I snap, returning to the peanut butter shelf. "But you've got all that," she snarls, gesturing at the things in my arms. "You mean the stuff I'm actually buying? Because I am a customer who does not work here?" "You just don't want to help me, you nasty little thing," she shrieks. Even if I did work there, I wouldn't want to help her. I ignore, grab a new jar, and go to tell an actual employee about the broken one on the floor. "Protein shakes!" she howls like a rabid hyena caught in a trap. "And clean this effing mess you made up!" I make a beeline for the front of the store, and eventually lose the crazy woman near the housewares, where I pick up an awesome T-Rex cookie jar and a new water bottle. Then I head up front to buy all the stuff I'd accumulated. On the way to the register, I noticed that someone had knocked a few t-shirts off a display in the girls' department. So, being a decent human, I stoop to pick them up when out of nowhere, she descends on me as if she'd been waiting in the wings for just that moment. "I knew you worked here," she screams, drawing the attention of everyone in the area. "I'm gonna have you fired for this." Yeah, good luck with that. The last story is, I don't run the motel. My wife and I are staying at an older but decent motel on the coast of Oregon. I was sitting on a bench by the parking lot, waiting on my wife, and a couple walked out of a room nearby. The man walked up to me and said, "Good morning. The fire sprinkler in our bathroom is dripping." I was trying to wake up, sipping at my coffee, and was confused at first. Then I got it. "Sorry, sir," I said. "I'm a guest as well, just waiting on my wife." The guy looked horrified and apologized immediately. I chuckled and said no problem. I didn't tell him I was secretly delighted because for the first time, I have a story for this sub. In all fairness to the man, the guy who does run the place and I look a bit alike. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Have a good one.